Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all of you Fayette Countyans. We have a real treat for you tonight. We're talking with the library people. I think we call it the Fayette County Library, although it is right in the middle of Connersville. And tonight I have with me three people that should be experts on the library. On my right and your left would be Anne Marie. And Anne Marie, tell me what's your position over at the library?
I am the library director.
Okay, and what does a library director do?
I manage the building. I coordinate things for the building and the staff at the library. Take care of the budget, make sure we have money to spend, all that kind of stuff.
So you're kind of like the business agent over
Yes.
there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then right next to her we have Melissa. And Melissa, what's your position?
I'm the assistant director and the youth services librarian.
Okay. And so to say that again, you're the assistant director and the youth services director. Well, who's the real librarian?
I'm the real librarian. I am the librarian.
Okay, now
I'm the real deal.
Okay, you're the real librarian. I knew every library has a librarian.
Mm-hmm.
You're the assistant librarian and youth
Yes.
services.
That's correct.
Some of your responsibilities would be?
Supporting the director, and also I'm in charge of all the services in the children's department with the help of my children's manager. I'm in charge of the technology in the building, so I search for the new computers, I purchase the databases. Basically, we call it a jack of all trades. Whatever the library needs me to do, I do.
There you go.
And then we have on the far end, Mr. Mike Stevens, very famous around Connersville. He's been in the Lions Club. He is still working for the Union Savings and Loan. He worked there several years, and he was a bank examiner in his real life, right?
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
Okay. So what's your position with the Fayette County Library?
I've been on the Board of Trustees now for 6 years, and pretty much going through some of the positions, or mostly all the positions at the library board. But the board of trustees meets every month and meets on special meetings, and we go over all the information that Anne Marie and Melissa provide us regarding, the operations of the business, looking at the expenses that were paid for the month, and trying to understand what kind of position we want to take as far as a 5-year strategic plan. Right now we're looking at the possibilities of tearing down the Steinen building, and we're going through that process.
Does that building belong to the library now?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it did. Okay. Now, we kind of got introduced. We kind of know who we are and what we do. When was the first library built in Connersville?
The first city library was built in March of 1894, but we think the first library was actually in John Connor's trading post.
He actually probably had some books there.
Yes, he did. There is reported that he had a lending library.
A lending library?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what year would that be in, approximately?
Probably from day one, I would assume, with him, because he was a very educated man.
Okay. Okay, well, that's interesting. But now, the library that was here when I came here in 1966 was called a Carnegie Library.
Right.
And you see those, the same shape, same style of building. There's one at Liberty still living.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me, what did that mean when you said it's a Carnegie? Did some guy named Carnegie build all these libraries free?
He helped fund the building of the library. The community had to put a certain percentage in to the construction of the library as well. And in 1908 is when we laid the cornerstone for the Carnegie building.
Okay, and who laid that cornerstone?
A group of citizens of Connersville decided that we needed a library. So
Okay.
they formed a committee and approached Carnegie about creating the library.
And they helped fund it then, and
That's correct.
that building was built then.
That was when it was built.
Okay, so about what time was that?
The cornerstone was laid in September 1908, and the building opened in the spring of 1909.
Okay, well, it was still here when I came here, and I'm sure Fran remembers it. He's been here all his life. And, yeah, it was a beautiful building, really. And those libraries are our beautiful building. They're all just in Indiana, or are they all over the United States?
All over the United States.
Yeah, I can tell you too that in the travels that I had when I was bank examining, that a lot of the Carnegie libraries are still in existence. A lot of the cities in the state of Indiana and Ohio maintain the front of the building, but they've expanded onto the back of it.
Liberty has expanded theirs.
And it's beautiful.
It's beautiful what they've done.
It
over
is.
there. Yeah.
They're beautiful libraries.
Yeah. Okay, well now we kind of know. So I can see that back in 1908 it was necessary because that's how you got information. But today we have computers and we go to school, we go to college. What do we need libraries for today?
I can address that.
Oh, I thought you would. I thought so.
We have so much more to offer now. People can get almost a free, well, they can actually get a free education at the library. We have something called Gale courses that Melissa will address later. But the author Neil Gaiman said something interesting once. He said that Google can bring you back 100,000 answers, but the librarian can bring you back the right one. So even though people can put a search term in Google, a lot of times it really takes a librarian to help somebody digest that information and actually pick out what's right for them. And we have programs at the library. We have something that's recently developed are called maker spaces, which we do at our library, and we do arts and crafts. You can learn how to do all kinds of different projects at the library. Do you have anything you wanted to add to that?
And libraries are constantly evolving. So what was in 1908 is not necessarily needed in 2015, but we still keep some of the same traditions, like the books, because that's something we do not want our children to lose, is the ability to read.
Right, and if you need to read to succeed, even if you got the internet, it doesn't read it to you yet. I suppose it will eventually.
They've done studies, early literacy studies. We do early literacy programs at the library, and they've done studies that show that there's something that's spatial about the connection between a parent and a child reading a book. The physical touch between a parent and a child when they're together, actually the child's brain reacts differently and grows differently than they do when they're just put in front of the TV or a computer or with a video game. So that books are still extremely important in the development of early literacy.
Well, let me add something. The Connersville Library itself has a very unique location, the Indiana Room. And it offers a great place with a fireplace of historic Connersville, and provides a lot of information that you probably won't find in a regular library.
And you're adding to that every day, right? You keep right up with it.
And we would really love to have the community come in if they haven't visited the library for very long, or have lost touch with the library, and take a look at the Indiana Room.
So on a daily basis, do you watch for historic events to put into those things, or do you store them all up and then someday say, oh, it's a rainy day, we'll work on this today? How do you do that?
We have a staff member who's in charge of the genealogy department, and she keeps an eye out for items that may come through. For instance, if a new business comes in town, sometimes she will print that off and keep a copy of it for future reference. It depends day by day on if she collects something or waits.
But you try to get a lot of information. Of course, you can't get everything.
Not a lot, but she tries to know where to find the information if we don't actually have it in our collection. Our genealogist is actually also our adult services librarian, so she has many hats to wear.
Okay. Now, we're going to drop back a little bit and say we have a young man or a young lady that really loves reading, loves books, and gets about the 10th grade, a junior in high school, and said, I want to be a librarian. What do you have to do to be a librarian?
Well, generally, most librarians don't immediately decide, although some do, like this one. Most people don't necessarily decide they want to be a librarian right away, but if you have gone to college and you've gotten a bachelor's degree, a lot of times people will have worked in the school library when they were growing up in high school, or maybe they work in the college at the library, and then they'll decide, now I want to be a librarian. And normally you get a master's degree in library science. So you build from the bachelor's degree from a discipline, and then you add the library science degree to it. In my case, I have a BFA from Heron School of Art, and I have my MLS from Indiana University.
Do you take a state board then to be a licensed librarian? Or?
You don't have to do that. You just get the degree, but you do have to you have to be certified. Every 5 years,
By
you
the
have to
state.
renew. Yeah, you have
So
to
you
renew
take
your
some
certificate.
continuing
We have to
education.
take continuing education classes. Almost everybody that works at the library, except for a couple people who are clerks, have the Certificate 6, and then several people have an MLS, and so it builds from the Certificate 6 up to Certificate 1. So in my case and in Melissa's, we both have Certificate 1s.
Okay. So that probably take you at least 6-7 years to get to be a librarian if you set out to do it.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I was going to say, I took a different route. I knew I wanted to be a librarian from day one, so I attended Ball State University and became a school media specialist and worked in the school library for a year, and then had the opportunity to move to Fayette County Public Library and took it and went for my master's in library science.
So, and generally, if you want a job as a librarian, then in a school, of course, then the school would hire you, but in a town or a county, the library board interviews and hires the librarian and hires the staff.
Yeah, yes. The director of the library has a lot of input into who's.
You make recommendation.
Yes, and a lot of times we go ahead and hire, and then it's brought up at the board meeting.
How long have you been over at our library?
I've been there a little bit over 2 years, but I've been in the library field for 31 years.
Where did you come from?
I grew up in Richmond, Indiana.
Well, we can't help that.
I know, I know. And most of my life I've lived in Indianapolis, but I was a children's librarian at Shelby County Public Library. I was the director at Rushville Public Library. I was at Hamilton East Public Library as the Youth Services Department head, and here. And I also worked at the Rowell Memorial Library, which is at the Children's Museum.
Wow.
So you're well qualified. The board found you and said, we're taking you in.
I hope I'm well qualified.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've been working a really long time and not getting anywhere.
Okay, I know that through the years, the library's remodeled, at least in my time, 2 or 3 times. And when you do that, I know you receive tax money. And you get a percentage of it's a library fund that you get a percentage of. Has that fund, like the city, ours has declined. Has yours declined?
I think Mike was going to.
Yes, it has. It has declined as early as 2010, and it continues to decline each year.
And why would that be, Mike? I know why, but I want you to tell the
Yeah,
people.
well, as far as the economy is concerned, I thought about it. A lot of libraries in the state of Indiana have, over the years, suffered financially. Prior to 2009, the libraries, they were operating on what they thought they needed to operate on, and never once looked at how the economy was operating. In 2009, at the Connersville Public Library, and that's when I came in, I started looking at the financials and noticed that we were spending more money on books and things, and our receipts, as far as the property taxes were concerned, were beginning to decline. They're declining because of the values of homes in town.
They're declining
And
because of the lost
basically-
of assessed value. Right.
And really, if someone wanted to know how much they pay for the library, it's good to look at your property taxes, your statement, and you'll see the percentage of taxes that goes to the public library.
Very small.
I think it was basically something we needed to do as a board and as the administration, to give them an understanding of this is how a library works. I had to understand that. But do we, in fact, need to spend as much money as we have been over the years on books and periodicals and newspapers and magazines? Or can we kind of diversify ourselves and look more at technology and trying to provide better services for less money? So what the Board of Trustees and the administration at that time went through a whole budget process, created a budget, identified the budget based on a monthly basis, determined line by line what we could live with in regards to lowering the costs of running a library. And I will have to say successfully, in 2010, October 2010, we reduced the staff 15%, shortened the hours because of the staff size, started looking at the expenses on a line-by-line understanding, and then moved forward. And I can tell you, as of 2015, we are in very good shape. Now, having said that, the library, Connersville Public Library, has been very fortunate over the years in receiving donations. So they receive donations and they receive taxes. And what we've been trying to do in the Connersville Library is to try to, if you will, have a cushion that in the event that we do need to rely on that, replace a roof or skylights or something like that, we can go ahead and spend that money and be able to still maintain a better level of library services.
Mike, when I listen to you, you're running the library like a business.
We are.
And I have tried to run the city that way. And it is very difficult because we have other things that enter in.
It is.
And of course, our staff is unionized, so we have a contract that, and just because your money goes down, your contract goes on. And we could, all of us could sit here and say, yeah, we were in pretty good shape until 2008, 9. First, we lost the Vistion $100 million assessment. And nobody's paying taxes on that anymore. And then you lost other companies. And then our legislature came along and put those tax caps on us on real estate property that people live in at 1%. And I've preached it for years. The whole idea was, as the property values went up, your taxes would go and everything would be the same. But in our county and in our city, our property values began to decline because of loss of employment. And as we did, the tax caps hit earlier. Mm-hmm. When the tax caps first came in, we were hitting maybe about $75,000 home before you hit the cap. And now we're down almost $40,000. They hit the caps.
Wow.
And it's been rough. And I know it's been rough for the library. But you've described a good business policy. And it's a shame that government can't do exactly the same thing. But it's so difficult because we never actually know what it's hard to make a budget that is really true because we don't know what our income is and you don't know what's your expense. Pretty soon, old Uncle Sam in Washington comes down and says, hey, you got to do a study, it's going to cost you $90,000. And if you don't do the study, we're not sending you any more money. So you hurry up and get ready, take bids and do a study. That's happened to me 3-4 times. Fran's been on the council 20 years, I know it's happened to him. No way to fund that, and so it's hard for people to understand.
It is.
But you've done a good job, evidently, because you're offering a great service over there. Your building's nice. You've done a good job, so you must have good trustees. How many trustees you have?
We have a total of 7.
7. And then you have a group called the Friends of the Library.
Friends of the
Tell
Library.
me what they are. What's the Friends of the Library?
The Friends are a supportive group. They do fundraising for us, mostly in the form of book sales, but other things, to help do extra projects. They give that money as a gift to the library. They're a 501c3 nonprofit group, so they are allowed to to make money for us.
They can raise money, and then they turn that money over to you for operating costs.
Yes.
So it's a part of your budget then. Okay.
Well, what they do is when we go in and ask for money for specific projects that we're
Like
working on.
programs.
For instance, summer reading is getting ready to start on May 23rd. The Friends of the Library is primarily paying for the whole summer reading program. They gave us approximately $3,000 to run it. And that's not really money that we have in our regular operating budget to do, but it is very important.
Oh, you know, we spent 20 minutes. We know what a library is. We know how long it's been here. We know how it works. Now let's spend some time on what the library actually can do for you. You just brought something up, summer reading. Tell us what that is.
On May 23rd, we will start our summer reading program. It is about heroes. It's called Every Hero Has a Story, and it is for all ages, from birth through 112. We have a 112-year-old in town. Each age level has a specific requirement. For the younger kids, like pre-kindergarten, they just have to have somebody read to them so many minutes a day to complete it.
Is that done in the library? Or?
They can do it at home.
Okay.
And for kindergarten through 6th grade, they have to read a little bit more and to complete each day. Adults have to read 6 books throughout the whole summer within their reading level, because we all know during the summer we're all extremely busy, so we try to make it in a way that anybody can complete it. It runs for 9 weeks, and you can sign up at the main library or you can sign up on the bookmobile. We will have a pool party at the end of the summer for those who complete the summer reading program. Plus, we have a drawing usually for a gift card to Walmart or another business that should give it to us. So
How many people usually participate in this?
last year we had over 350 students and 150 adults and young
Isn't that
adults.
wonderful? That's great.
It is. And I wanted to say that the summer reading program is extremely important for kids because they've done studies that show that reading programs help keep the reading levels of children up. So it's an important literacy tool for parents.
Okay. Now that's one of the programs. Bring up another program we have over there.
We also have a winter reading program.
Let's go ahead with the winter.
We're
It's the
really-
same thing,
It's
basically?
similar. It's a lot shorter because we only do it for a month over Christmas break, because we don't want kids to go home
And-
over Christmas break and then go back in January and not be ready for school. We also do story times for kids throughout the school year. There's 4 different story times, 0 to 11 months, 12 months to 24 months, 2 and 3-year-olds, and 4 and 5-year-olds. And that is where we can interact with the child, we can read with the
They
child.
come into the library?
They come into the library. Oh, and the kids have so much fun, and we have so much fun with them, because not only do we read with them, we sing with them, we play games with them, we do educational activities. And it seems like the kids who are in these kind of programs do better at school when it gets started, because they're used to the structure of sitting there and listening.
You see what we've already accomplished here. If you drive by the library, you think, well, you go in there and you get a book, and you come out, you got to be quiet. And yeah, they do something in there on there, but this is 2 programs now, and give me some more programs. Let's get excited.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the adult programs, because
Let's
it's
hear
not
it.
just for kids. We do adult programs too. We have something called Fun Friday, which are basic arts programs, just teaches basic art skills. Jennifer, our adult program librarian, and by the way, she has an MLS even though she's a part-time person. Jennifer does programs about cooking, and she has she's tried different things like chess clubs. And can you think of some of the other things she's done? She does a lot of different programs.
If you have heard of Pinterest, she goes once a month and picks a project from Pinterest, and they create that during that program. And the library provides all the supplies, so you don't have to bring anything. But I think the important thing is when people say there's nothing to do in Connersville or Fayette County. Last year, we had over 370 programs at the library. That's more than one a day.
We also have teen programs.
And we have teen programs. Ashley, who's our young adult librarian, she does anime and manga, which is really popular with the young adults.
I don't even know what it is, so it's.
It reminds me of comic books, but it's Japanese style.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking
I guess I'm a little bit too old to really understand it either.
about, the computer lab.
Mike brought up the computer lab. We do have a computer lab down there with 10 computers in the adult area, and then we have 3 computers in the children's department that have access to the internet. Then we have 2 computers that have no access to the internet. They're called literacy stations. They have educational games, and they are just, the kids love them. They can spend hours on these computers, and they're learning something. It's not just playing a video game, even though it is a video game. I take my kids down there personally and let them play on it, and my daughter has done better with math. She's doing better in reading, recognizing letters. There's also a product on there that a lot of people have heard about, and I'm not trying to promote that product, but it's called ABC Mouse. And people can buy subscriptions for home, but the library gets it for free. You can come down into the library and use it at no cost to you. And it is a great preschool program because each week you get a different lesson.
Okay, that sounds good. Now I want to move into this. When I talked with you before, we talked about how you can get credit, college credit, through the library online. I want you to tell me about that.
This year we subscribe to Gale courses.
This is very important, folks. You need to listen to this.
This is a wonderful product, and we've already had 57 people use it since January 1. And I'd love to see a lot more people use it. They have computer classes, they have stuff for EMS, they have healthcare workers, they have literacy, almost anything you can think of, you can find something that you would be interested in.
We can actually get our continuing education, some of our continuing education for library science from the Gale courses.
When you finish the class, it's a 6-week class, they have 2 lessons a week. You do it on your own time. You don't have to go to a classroom. If you wanted to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and log on and do your coursework, that's an option. And when you finish it at 6 weeks, you take a final exam. That's about 50 questions, and it'll print a certificate off. For us,
If you pass the exam.
if you pass the exam. For us, it gives us 24 hours of education, learning units. And that's important because I have to have at least 75 every 5 years. So, and I know some of the colleges will accept that certificate, not as much as credit, but to show that you are learning something new.
Well, not only that, you really will learn something.
And it's really good for taking to your job. So if you're going to go to a job interview, and one of the things they ask is, do you have Microsoft Office training?
You have a certificate.
You have a certificate to show them not only have you had training, but you passed.
Well, let's say that somebody wants to sign up for this computer thing. Well, first you got to have a library card. I remember that. See, I'm getting.
Yes.
Okay, you got a library card. You come in the front door. Hey, I want to take a computer class. What's next?
What's next is
Now listen, folks. This is good stuff.
we will put you on a computer in our computer lab and direct you to the website, which is actually linked from the library's website. So if you go to the library's website, you can find it, and you can actually sign up for your courses
So you
at
start
home.
up down there.
You can start up at home as long as you
can.
have a library card.
Okay.
And it's easy to get a library card. All you have to have is your ID, and you need to have proof of your address. So if your ID, if your driver's license or your state issued ID has your correct address, you're ready to go. If not, you just bring in some kind of proof of your address.
Okay.
So
And
that
it's
easy.
free.
And it's free.
Yeah. I can't. People really ought to take advantage of this.
I know that I got a camera, a nice Nikon camera for Christmas. It has all the buttons and dials and all that. and there are beginner courses for how to operate the camera. So I'm excited about.
Have you taken it, or you just,
I have not taken it
but
yet.
you're going to?
I am.
Yeah.
I will say, before we subscribed to the scale courses, I was able to take a class online, but I had to pay for it myself, and it was over $100. So to do it at the library for free rather than to pay $100 is, to me, remarkable.
It is.
I know that we've worked with this Manufacturing Matters. I don't know if you're familiar with it. And we've only been able to get 2 or 3 Fayette County people to join in that. And it's a wonderful thing, and it's free too.
Wow.
Free, F-R-E. What a lot of the folks have told me that I would love to see them take it, and it helps you get a job. It gets you prepared to work and to get a good paying job. But they'll say, I'm afraid of it. I don't want to look so dumb. And I think that some of us that are like my age, even Mike's age, we didn't see a computer until we were way past middle age.
Yeah.
And so, and I've learned by being in the mayor's office and my assistant teaching me. She can teach me one day, and if I don't use it every day, I lose it. Are you like that, Mike?
No, it's a little different with me because in my work that I had,
You used it
I had to
regular.
use it all the time.
Yeah, and that's the key to it. You got to use it a
Yes,
lot.
it
you
is
know.
true.
But we do have computer classes one-on-one at the library too. I mean, or I should say one-on-one, but small groups of computer classes. So if you feel like, you can't take the Gale courses, you're not at that level yet where you can be by yourself taking this class on the computer, you can come into the library and get familiar with the computers. We do have classes for that too.
But that's what we need, and it's
true.
hard to convince people. I just have her work with me, and man, I've learned more in the last 8 years than I thought I'd ever learn. When I had to go down and take a course on sewage, how we treat sewage. I got a certificate on my wall. Never did I ever believe I was going to get a certificate in sewage.
Me either.
I know how it works now.
You're well-rounded now.
I'm well rounded, but I'm too old. Nobody wants me.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Okay. So if you just have a library card and you get into this course and now you get your certificate, you could go on and take many courses. And could you eventually get some college credit then out of these courses?
They will not give you the college credit themselves, but they'll give you the training to be able to go to an online class and take it. Because I know I took Gale courses a few years ago, and it taught me to be more structured and to make sure I logged in and did the classes. But just about 2 years ago, I decided to up my certification level a little bit more to learn more about library management, and I had to take an online class through an actual university. And I will tell you, I would have struggled more with that class if I hadn't taken the Gale courses first.
It prepared you.
It prepared me. And I can tell you, taking a class online through a college university is a lot more expensive than going for Gale,
I
and you
know.
do not want to fail one of those.
Some of the universities, if you're going for a specific thing, my son is he had to have something this summer that he can't get at Ball State. He's going to be a senior next year, and he's taking it. In fact, I think he's working on it right now while we're sitting here. But it's wonderful because in some of the classes, the way they offer it, and he tells me the way you're tracking, it just doesn't fit into your schedule.
Yeah.
So you take it in the summer, so you have it. He's going to be a physical therapist, and he's got to have this particular course, so he's taking it online. But there's so many things available today that are so wonderful. Tell us about another program over there. We've gone over the programs in the summer, the winter, the education courses. What if you just want to find out where you came from, your genealogy? You do a lot of that over there, don't you?
We help in the genealogy room quite a bit. Every few months we try to offer a basic genealogy workshop. We try to work every year with the HCI about doing genealogy during Heritage Days. So on the Saturday of Heritage Days, we usually have somebody down there to help people who are visiting town, wanting to learn more about their history. We do have 2 computer programs that people can go on to and search at the library. One is Ancestry Library, and that one we can only use in the library. That's just something that database has restricted us to. And you can go look up your family trees, you can look up the census, you can look up birth records sometimes, depending on the state you're in. And we also have what's called Heritage Quest, which is mostly census records. Now that you can access at home using your library card. But we can actually show you how to use those 2 databases as well. And I have found if I sometimes find something on those databases that links me to Connersville, I can take that information and start using the library's books to find more information.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the old-fashioned library. How do you know what books to buy and put in there?
We have journals, like the school library journal, book list,
So are you going
Publishers
over that
Weekly.
constantly and ordering, or?
No, I wouldn't say constantly, but periodically. You know, we divide up who selects certain books, so that there's somebody in the adult department who's in charge of acquisitions, and then children's librarian does the children's books. Melissa does a lot of the DVDs and CDs, and I do some of the reference and some nonfiction. So we just kind of divide that up, and you know, we'll also see a review randomly somewhere. I mean, you're reading, you know, New York Times bestseller list, and you see something that you think would be good.
Do you carry all, you know, you go into a airport and they got all these bestsellers supposedly, some of them.
We try to keep up with most of the
Keep it all, a
bestsellers.
couple of, all that stuff?
Talk about the Kindles.
Well, I was going to say, another thing that helps us selection is experience. Most of the staff who are in charge of selecting materials have been there many years and watch what the trends are in Connersville. Because what could be a popular book in Chicago may not go here, or vice versa. So we not only look at the journals, we look at our statistics, we watch what comes across the desk.
People make recommendations too. The public's welcome to come in and tell us that they have seen a book and, you know, they would like us to purchase that book, and we'll take it into consideration.
I know there's several people that have written books here in Connersville. Do you make an effort to have one of their books?
We attempt to. I know we don't have everyone's, but we try to.
It also has to kind of meet our criteria for. I mean, it has to be well written, and you know.
Yeah.
Okay, now, what is the budget for the library? What's the total budget for the library? Do you know that, Mike?
I think we've got some information here for 2015. Where's this sheet? Do I have it here?
Yeah, but eight.
I'm
That's it. 800. Around $900,000 a year.
Almost.
and how much of that would be tax money? What portion?
What, about 80% of it.
Yes, about 80% of it.
Okay.
There is also a, what is it, an option?
Local
There's a
option too.
Local
Local
option.
option, and then is there an auto excise? We get some money from auto excise and the local option.
We also get fines and fees, copy machine. You know, the copier. We get fees
You
from
make a
those.
little money, you have
We-
some income over there.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a big, and how big is the staff?
We have 18 people.
18 people. And what are the hours?
We are open 9 to 7 Monday through Thursday, and 9 to 5 on Friday and Saturday. I'm sorry, 10 to 7 Monday through Thursday, and 9 to 5 Saturday or Friday and Saturday,
And closed on Sunday?
and closed on Sunday.
Okay. In a year's time, do you know how many people you actually
Oh, yeah.
serve?
Oh, yes.
I think the people would be interested in that.
Yeah, that's a good statistic.
I can tell you on average we do about 11,000 people a month. So that's quite a few.
Are a lot of those repeat customers
lot.
or, that are just library people that come a lot, and then you're always getting new people?
We have library card holders. We have around 17,000 library cards holders in the Fayette County Public Library.
Do people come from other towns to use our library?
We do have a few that come from other towns. They can buy what's called a non-resident card through the library, or they can buy what is a plaque card that the state of Indiana sells that will let you use any library in the state of public library in the state of Indiana, and that's an annual fee. Or we have what's called reciprocal borrowing agreements with over 150 libraries in the state of Indiana that lets our patrons use other libraries and vice versa. So there's a lot of opportunities.
How does our library compare to other towns and cities?
For our library of our size, we are, I'd say, right on the market. I mean, right on the money. Some things we do better, some things they do a little bit better. It just depends on what your focus is going to be.
Okay. Now, everybody always asks about the bookmobile. And tell us a little bit about what the bookmobile does and what it does for us. I know it goes to the schools. So.
It goes to school. The Bookmobile is a mobile library, so if you ever have an opportunity and have not stopped by and seen it, it is really neat to go on to.
It is.
I actually grew up in a town, and that was my primary use of the public library was a bookmobile.
They didn't have a library, they just had the bookmobile? Or?
They had a library in Greensburg, but I lived in a little town of Westport.
I know where Westport is.
And so my mom would take us every week that it was in Westport to the bookmobile, and then on the weeks it wasn't there, she actually drove to Greensburg to let us go to the main library.
Yeah, Greensburg is a suburb of Westport.
Vice versa.
I didn't look at it that way.
Well, I will say I'm from an extremely small town. I'm very proud of it. So, because Westport was only a town of about 1,500 people, so we're really, really tiny.
It's growing some, though.
It has.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the bookmobile is it lets us go places in the community that we don't have a branch.
Does it only go in Fayette County?
It only goes in Fayette County.
Okay, so tell me some of the places it goes.
We go to Everton. We go to Gordon Estates and Bentonville. Well, besides the schools, because we go to both the rural schools, Everton and Fayette Central. We go to, I'm trying to think of every place, nursing homes. We go to assisted living
Stops there and
buildings.
lets people go on.
And Phyllis is wonderful because if someone can't come out of one of the assisted living facilities, she'll actually leave the bookmobile and go to their apartment and take the materials to them. So
Didn't she work on there with her dad for years?
she worked on there with her dad for years, and he retired after 25 years.
Yeah.
And she now works with
I'm so old, I remember when he worked at Central State Bank.
Bob. Bob's awesome. Bob is
Smith.
missed
Yeah.
from the library.
They're good people.
Daniel is an excellent driver as well. He is from the Bicentennial. You may have remembered Daniel as being John Connor.
John Connor.
So, he's not only an excellent employee, he's an excellent actor.
Yeah. Probably carries his bow and arrow on there.
I wouldn't be surprised. And we go to a lot of the daycares, and we do story times at those daycares. And during the summer, what was one of the important stops is actually Roberts Park. They do a craft every Thursday afternoon at 12:30 for the kids to come and do. And
Is that the kids that are doing summer discovery?
it can be anybody who wants to stop by. It's limited to the first 25 people who show up.
Oh, okay. As you know, we do that summer discovery program we started up
That's
there.
great.
And we usually go over to the summer discovery and check out some materials to the kids over there too.
Yeah, that's a great program.
The bookmobile is a great way to have a branch without actually having a brick building because
It makes it possible for us to serve the entire county and not just Connersville.
Now, then, not only have the bookmobile, but we got these little
Little free libraries.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
how's that going now?
That is going, I think is a wonderful program. Last year, Duke Energy provided $5,000 for us to get that program started. And it's phenomenal, I think, because every time I go to check on the little free libraries, there's very few of the books left. We get calls constantly that we need to come out and put some more books in the libraries.
And then they bring them back there too?
In theory, they should bring them back. It should be a take a book and bring a book. I think people need to try to bring a few more books, but otherwise,
Hear that, folks? We gotta do that.
people are taking plenty of books. And really, honestly, I have to put a word in for Neighborhood Day Association. Revive the Ville has been wonderful about helping us keep the books in the little free libraries.
Okay. Well, how many do we have around Fayette County now?
Right now, we have 6 that are out there, and there are 6 more that we have ready to place this year.
Okay. And that brings books closer to the people again.
Yes, it's another literacy.
And what type books are in those little baby?
It can be anything. Actually, if you decide you would like to put a book that you love, if you have a book that you've read and you're ready to give it up, you can take that and put it in a little free library. Mostly it's books that people have loved and donated to the library so that we can put them in the little free libraries.
Well, that's great. So look at all the services that you've been able to increase with a tight budget. And so you touched on the Steinem building. What is the future of the library? What's the future plans? What's down the road? You know that, Mike.
I think what we're looking at, we would really like to take the Steinem building down and create a green space, and have just a green space that maybe we can be able to put in a patio, if you will, and a table, and have people, if they want to, read books outside, or that just makes sense to us. We would like to expand the parking lot, and at some point we would like to go ahead and reinvent our purpose, our goals and objectives in the community of Connersville. As you know, the Big Brothers and Big Sisters is gone. The Boys and Girls Club is no longer. And I believe that the library itself, with all the services that it provides, that maybe we can go ahead and be able to reach out into the community and re-identify possibly a partnership with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Maybe do a combined effort that was talked about years ago, but be able to provide the facility for that event, for that particular activity to occur.
More and more libraries nowadays are collaborating with other agencies so that a lot of programs are offered.
I get the point here. We have toyed with the idea. We run Summer Discovery in the park, and we're able to serve a bunch of youngsters up here. But we would really like to have a Summer Discovery program south Connersville, because kids don't have transportation to get up there.
That's exactly right.
And,
I mean, that was the biggest problem.
It would be an excellent thing for the city or the county to join forces with you if we had a facility, and it's too bad that those others have dropped away, but they dropped away for the same reason, lack of resources.
Well, what I wanted to say was that I know that there was a number of business people that wanted to recreate the Boys and Girls Club. Richmond, Indiana has a very successful club organization there, but you know why? The industry has made a very big effort in getting that going.
And they had some large donors in the beginning.
Now, we had some community people here that had a great interest in it, but we have to try to, get them interested again.
Yeah.
And then, in order to increase the size of the library, if we were to do that, we have to have a 1-year commitment. So, talking about it is one thing. The second part of it is actually solidifying it and getting a monetary commitment for us to pursue something like that.
I think the original building there now was built in 1980. I remember when it was being built, I went down and I donated the plaque that sits on the front of it.
That's neat.
And I wanted to do that because I wanted to have a small part of it. In the 1980, we donated it. And if I remember right, there's something in behind it, but I can't remember what they put. Was there a box of stuff back there? Or? Maybe there isn't.
I
Maybe
don't
it just
know.
sits on the brick wall. I'm not sure. But I remember the day we put it in there.
That's really something.
Well, 1980 is not that far back, Mike.
Oh, listen, I know Gary Smith was saying the same thing. He remembers when the new library was
Yeah,
built.
yeah.
And so,
There was a lot of controversy over that when they did it.
Oh, really?
And now that everybody, yeah, it was a big thing because there was a Shipley building there, I believe, and I think they tore down the Shipley building. No, that's a different issue. That's where the school administration office, where the Standard Grocery is now. No,
okay.
The library, people just didn't want the old one tore down some. But look what we've got
Yeah.
now. We've got the most wonderful library, and it's more energy efficient than those old windows, and no steps. That's handicap accessible. Always has great windows. Who does that? Who does that display in the windows in the hall on the way in?
We have people volunteer to do it each month. Some months the library does it. This next month we'll be doing 2 windows for summer reading, and I believe the Master Gardeners Club is doing one.
With gardening stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a staff member who
Coordinates.
coordinates and pursues.
You know, the other thing, you used to rent that room a lot. Do you still rent that room for things, or
The meeting rooms,
Yeah.
yes, we do. We do.
there were bridal showers in there and baby showers, and
We do not do the baby showers or bridal showers anymore.
that stopped?
That stopped probably about 7 years ago, 8
So
years ago.
what do you use it for?
We use it for a lot of programming, and then we have organizations who will come in and use it for their meeting space, and sometimes we have like reunion committees using it now once a month. It just depends from month to month how many people's in there. I can say on every Friday we partner with the Fiber Artists Group in Fayette County, and we do a program at 12 o'clock, and that's for anybody who wants to come in and learn how to do crocheting or sewing or anything that
No,
uses fiber.
that's really interesting. I had someone call my office and want to know if there was any place they could learn to knit. Do you knit?
Well, I think a couple of the members
Yeah,
knit.
they do.
I had that call at my office.
Oh, my goodness.
Where can we go to learn to knit? Didn't know you did it at the library. I should have sent them up there. Yeah.
stop by, Mayor.
I suppose because we're constantly adding to, you got to constantly have more space. And what's the future? Take a minute or so, each one of you, and tell me how you see it down the road. People ask me all the time, how do you see the city in 5, 10 years? You know, we've come through some hard times. There's just no doubt we
there
have.
is.
I see the city as getting better and better, but very slowly. I see our county getting better and better slowly. It's going to take time. And we're never, and I hate to say this, going to be what it was, but we're going to be something better.
Right.
Only the federal government, listen to this, only the federal government thinks that you can take a quilt, cut 6 inches off this end, sew it on this end, and it's longer. Only the federal government thinks that. Nobody with common sense would ever think that. So we have to be realistic that we grow slowly. We've got a lot of great people that live here. And we've had our problems with drugs, we've had our problems with so many things, but we've tackled those problems most of the time. And you know, it's just like at home, you have to learn with and live with what it is. And that's what you've done. And it sounds to me like you've done a great job to learn to live with the budget you got and to change with the time.
Thank you.
Nobody wants to change. And when you get old people don't change at all. Right, Mike?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way.
He says we got 5 minutes. Each one of you take time now and tell the people what is so important in your heart about the library. We'll start with you, Anne Marie.
Well, I do think that the libraries are changing, and we do have to change with
Yeah, I agree.
the times. Collaboration is, you know, I know I said it a lot, but collaboration is going to become increasingly important in communities so that people can share resources. So I think one of the things we're going to look at is a center that we can, you know, we're not going to build anything huge, but we need more collaborative space for our library. The good thing is a lot of the digital resources that we have now, all of the ebooks that you can borrow from our website, have made it possible that we don't have to constantly think about growing our collection. So, we don't have to take up huge amounts of space with our collection anymore, but we do need space for good programs. And I guess that would be where I see the future, more space for programs, and we probably won't need as much space for the collection.
And Melissa?
I would like to see what's really true to my heart is the education of the young people. I would like to see us become more involved in working with the schools and other organizations by either a librarian going in there and reading a book sometimes to the kids or doing a project. I am revamping our story times to have a preschool component in it. So when you come to read, you're not just going to read, but you're going to have something to take home, take away, to practice with. Like if we're doing a story on colors, the kids are going to get worksheets to take home. Now it's up to the parents to decide if they want to do the worksheets because they don't need to bring back to the library. We're not going to grade them. But we really need to focus on education. And I think the library is a wonderful place that's non-threatening for families to come in.
Okay. Mike, where?
Well, tying this all up together, I think you and I agree. I would really like to see us listen more to the community and see what the community needs are and be able to bring those services to the community or have the community come in and see what we can do for them as far as the library is concerned. Just the whole idea of we will still have books in the library, but I think too technology is going to play a big part in reducing the costs that we have associated with running the operation of the library, but also provide more and more services to the community. I really, that's my field too, and you know how I feel about children, big brothers and big sisters. I wish
you worked on that when they were here. Yeah.
And everyone in the community did.
Yeah.
Everyone touched that organization at one time.
Well, tonight we've talked about an asset in our community that sometimes you just ride by and you take for granted.
It's
like
jewel.
Many other things in our community. We have 18 people over there that are there to serve you. All you have to do is get that library card. You can get educated. You can read a book. You can look at your history. You can even look at maybe your family history. You can go back and see what Connersville was, is, and will be in that room back there where all the papers are. And it's just an asset that we must take advantage of. Education is the key to getting out of the hole so we can get people to get jobs. People need to be educated. Today, you can't just go across the street and work because you're able to work with your hands. I think this has been a great program. When I heard you at Lions Club, I wanted you on this program so you could tell everybody in Fayette County your story.
Thank you.
I think you've done a great job, and I appreciate every one of you. If anything that the city can do during my time, what I have left, I'd be glad to help you and work with you. Mike, I consider you one of my top friends. We've worked together for many years on a lot of things.
We have, on many things.
And I appreciate what you're doing over there. And just feel free to call us if something we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And remember that education stuff's free.
Free.
And it can't get any better than that. Well, tonight we've told you about your library, and we appreciate you being with us. And thank you for being on another one of Connersville Speaks. We'll look forward to next month. And for tonight, we're going to say good night.